After mentioning the innumerable faults of the age of Kali, Sukadev Goswami now mentions its one brilliant aspect. Just as one powerful king can kill innumerable thieves, one brilliant spiritual quality can destroy all the contamination of this age. It is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, especially in this fallen age. Thank you very much. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to this evening Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today, as it would have it, I have landed on a very, very famous shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, being the last of the series of shlokas which we will be studying. This shloka list was compiled by Ajay Prabhu, and somehow I had decided that I will take the last shloka, and it turned out to be this particular shloka. So Kaler Dosha Nide Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. So this is a very, very famous shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, but a shloka which gives us a lot of hope, being in Kali Yuga. Now, Prabhujis and Matajis, as we get up in the morning, every day in the morning, and as practicing devotees, the first prayer which we normally sing in the morning is the Mangala Arati prayers. And the first words which come out of our mouth in the morning is Samsara Dava, Nalanida Loka. So as soon as we get up, we sing the Mangala Arati, and the first line of Mangala Arati is Samsara Dava, Nalanida Loka. And the translation of this line, of course, is this material world is affected by the blazing fire of material existence. So we go in front of the deities of the Lord and we acknowledge to the Lord, my dear Krishna, we are in Kali Yuga and we are surrounded by this blazing fire. And of course, Srila Prabhupada always used to mention that unless we are convinced that this material world is a miserable place, we cannot go back home, back to Godhead. So we sing before the Lord that this material world, this Kali Yuga, we are surrounded by this blazing fire. And this shloka which we just read now, this shloka says, Kaler Dosha Nidhi, Dosha Nidhi. This shloka says that in Kali Yuga, this is a Dosha Nidhi. Dosha Nidhi means an ocean of faults. So Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, not just a pond of faults, not just a small water body of faults. It is an ocean of faults. And this is a fact, because just look around you. And there is so much of degradation, there is so much of disease, there is so much of chaos. It is indeed the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Kalaha, the word Kalaha means quarrel, and Kali is an age of quarrel. The atmosphere is so saturated with bad habits that there are fights at the slightest misunderstanding. There are fights between husband and wife. There are fights between office colleagues. There are fights between citizens of a nation. There are fights between nation to nation. And there are fights everywhere. This world loses all its dharma. People are corrupt and perform sin on almost a daily basis. People fight over petty things, and even hard work refuses to pay. And people who perform bad deeds are on top of the social ladder. Prabhupada used to say that we are living in a godless society where people are treated not for their qualities, not by the way they behave, but people are treated like a resource to be exploited. Why go so far? Just open your newspaper every day, and within 5 minutes, you can understand the kind of degradation, the kind of problems which we are surrounded by. One time, it is mentioned in the Uddhava Gita that one time the four Pandavas, other than Yudhishthira, who was not there at that time, so Arjuna, Bhim, Nakul, and Sahadev, they asked Lord Krishna, "My dear Krishna, please tell us what Kali Yuga is like and how, and because it is fast approaching." And Lord Krishna replied, "I will tell you all about Kali Yuga, but before that, you need to do something." Lord Krishna said, "I will shoot 4 arrows in 4 directions, and each one of you have to go in each direction and retrieve 1 arrow for me. And tell me what you see at that place when you find the arrow." And as Lord Krishna said this, he stood up and he took out 4 arrows from his quiver and he shot the 4 arrows in different directions in quick succession. And the Pandavas went in all the 4 directions searching for the arrow. The first arrow, Arjuna rode fast as he can behind the first arrow, and he found it. But as he picked up the first arrow, he looked up. It was under a tree. And he looked up and he saw a beautiful cuckoo bird. And this cuckoo bird is considered to be very auspicious. And this cuckoo bird was singing in a most spellbinding voice. It was singing a most beautiful song. And Arjuna looked up and he saw this cuckoo bird. And just as he looked up, the cuckoo bird was singing. But for a minute, the cuckoo bird stopped singing. And Arjuna noticed that in the claws of the cuckoo bird was caught a white, small baby rabbit. And the cuckoo bird paused for a second from its song, took a bite from the flesh of that rabbit, and started singing again. And this went on. The cuckoo bird sang, stopped, picked a bite of flesh from the rabbit, which was still alive and in excruciating pain. Arjuna was taken aback by this sight, and he went back to tell Lord Krishna. The second arrow, Bhima went in search of the second arrow, and he saw that that arrow was stuck in a place that had 5 wells. And he saw that one well was surrounded by 4 other wells. And the 4 wells on the outside, which was surrounding that one well, were overflowing with the sweetest of water. They were overflowing. But the one in the center was completely empty. Bhima was puzzled and he returned to Lord Krishna with the arrow. The third arrow. Nakula went in search of the third arrow. When he picked up that arrow, he saw a crowd which had gathered. When he saw that there was some kind of commotion which was happening, and when he made his way inside that crowd, he saw that there was a cow, and this cow was licking its newborn calf. The calf was completely clean, but the cow kept on licking the calf. The people were trying to separate the cow and the calf because the cow was licking the calf so much that the calf was bleeding and was crying. Nakula wondered how a pious and a calm creature like a cow can harm its own newborn child. And by thinking this, he went back to Lord Krishna. And then the fourth arrow. Sahadev went in search of that fourth arrow, and he ended up at a mountain. But as soon as he landed up at that mountain, he saw a big rock which was rolling down that mountain, crushing all the trees on its way. But to the surprise of Nakula, immediately as that rock was crashing down the mountain, it was stopped in its way by a small sapling, a small plant, a weak plant. Nakula, but Sahadev was shocked. He was shocked and he rushed back to Lord Krishna to tell him this particular and most unusual sight. All the four Pandavas went back to Lord Krishna, and as decided, they placed each of their arrows at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna smiled. And they asked Lord Krishna, can you please explain to us what we have seen? Because each of these sights are so unusual. And Lord Krishna began to explain. Lord Krishna said, the first arrow, the first sight which you saw, Arjuna, of a cuckoo bird pecking on an alive small baby rabbit. He said in Kali Yuga, the Brahmanas, the kings, the saintly people, the people who are in charge of running the administration are exactly like the cuckoo bird. They will have sweet words, but they will exploit and inflict pain on their followers, just as the cuckoo bird. This is a civilization, Prabhujis and Matajis, of the cheaters and the cheated. We are cheated with people who have very sweet words and sweet explanation, just like the cuckoo bird. But this is what Kali Yuga is. Lord Krishna continued. The second arrow, he said. Lord Krishna said in Kali Yuga, the rich and the poor will live in the same locality. The rich will be overflowing with money and fortune, yet they will not spare a single coin to help the poor people, just like the dry well that was surrounded by four wells which were overflowing by the sweetest of water. But the dry well was empty because the four wells which were surrounding did not share their water with the empty well. The third arrow. And Nakula said, he said, Krishna told Nakula, in Kali Yuga, parents will love their children so intensely that they will spoil them. In the same manner, just a cow was licking its newborn baby, but the attachments with children will be so much, and the attachment with family, the attachment with their near and dear ones will be so much that they will not have any other relationship, especially the relationship with the Lord. And then the fourth arrow, which was picked up by Sahadev, Lord Krishna said that in Kali Yuga, people are so fallen that they will fall to their doom, just like the rock was falling from the mountain. They will keep on rolling down the hill. And all the trees which were trying to block the rock are like the family, wealth, success. They will try and stop the rock, but the rock will keep on falling down. None of them will be able to stop the living entity from falling to its doom. At the end, the rock will be stopped only by a weak sapling. And this weak sapling represents the holy name of Krishna. Even a weak call, to the holy name of Krishna, and the caller will be saved. It is said, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastevya, Eva Nastevya, Eva Nastevya, Eva Gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way other than the holy name of Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhujis and Matajis, there is a very, very beautiful shloka, 1.1.10. This shloka says, Prayena alpa ayushya sabhya, kalau asmin yuge jana, manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya hi upadrista. So in Kali Yuga, everything is alpa. Everything is alpa. Ayu is alpa, Shakti is alpa, Buddhi is alpa, Smriti is alpa, Bhagya is alpa. Alpa means everything is less, katoti. There is alpa, there is cut short in everything. So Ayu is alpa. The Bhavishya Puran says that in Kali Yuga, the age of people will reduce. It is said that in Kali Yuga, the Shastra says that a man who is 20 to 25 years of age will be considered old. And the Srimad Bhagavatam goes on to say that this this reduction in age is because of the bad habits of people, because of their poor eating habits. So Alpa Ayu, Alpa Shakti, Alpa Shakti, the people of this age do not have power. It is described in the Mahabharata that when Arjuna wanted to shoot an arrow and kill a person with an arrow, even if there were two elephants blocking the path of Arjuna, the arrow would pierce through the elephants and go and kill the man. Today's people are nowhere close. So Alpa Shakti, Alpa Smriti, and Alpa Buddhi, everything is smart. In the other yugas, the students, the brahmacharis, they used to go to the Gurukul and they were all called Shrutidhars. That means that anything they once heard, they never forgot. And because they could remember everything, there was nothing was written. There was nothing on books. So reading and writing, by their standard, is actually a degradation. It is not something which is called as advancement. Today, Alpa Smriti, we find it difficult even to remember a phone number. And this shloka says, Manda Bhagya hi upadrita. That means upadrita. The word upadrita means everyone in Kali Yuga is always troubled. Everyone is always troubled. People are troubled. If somebody has money, they don't have health. If somebody has health, then they have some family problems. If somebody have health and if they have health and money, then they have problem with their family members or with society. So manda bhagya upadrita. So Kali Yuga, kaler dosha nidhi. This shloka says that this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. If we just open the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam and we start reading the first canto, we come across a section where the Srimad Bhagavatam says that Bhumi Devi, this Mother Earth, is actually in the form of a cow, is crying because she's carrying the weight of all the sinful people. And Dharma, in the form of a bull with 3 legs cut, is sitting there next to Bhumi Devi being attacked by Kali Yuga. And Maharaj Parikshit was about to kill Kali, and Kali begged him, and he was given 4 places to live. And those 4 places were places of Dyutya, Striya, Panam, and Shuna. Places where there is gambling, prostitution, intoxication, and slaughter. And the reason why Maharaj Parikshit gave them those 4 places to stay was because in those days, there were hardly any places where these 4 things existed. But as time has passed, Kali Yuga has expanded its influence, and there is hardly any place where there is no slaughter, where there is no gambling, where there is no intoxication, and there is no prostitution. Therefore, Kali Yuga, the personality of Kali, has spread its influence all across the world. So then, what should we do? Do we have any hope? And the Bhagavatam says yes. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam actually says that the day Lord Krishna left this material world, the very moment Lord Krishna left this material world, at that moment, Kali, the Kali who is the personification of irreligion, he entered planet Earth. But Prabhujis and Matajis, just look at the mercy of Lord Krishna. In the previous ages, the Lord comes, he manifests, he performs his pastimes, and he goes back to his abode. But in Kali Yuga, the Lord comes, performs his pastimes, but he does not leave. He stays back in the form of his holy name. He stays back. Krishna does not leave this material world. He stays back in the form of his holy name. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna has stayed back in the form of his holy name. And this is the great, great benediction of this age. Krishna and his holy name, the holy name of Krishna is also known as Nama Prabhu, the personification of the holy name. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to use the phrase Nama Prabhu very, very often, that Krishna is in the form of his holy name. You know, Prabhujis and Matajis, there are 2 types of doctors. One doctor stays in his clinic and he expects the patients to come there and he cures them. But there is another kind of doctor. And this doctor, if he sees that a patient is unwell, he will go to that patient's house, he will pay a visit to that patient's house, and he will cure that patient because the patient is too sick to leave his house. The holy name of Krishna is exactly like that of the second doctor, and Krishna is like that second doctor. He comes to each of our houses in the form of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to clean and to cure us of this disease. One devotee was sharing with me that it is said, we read this very often in Prabhupada's books, that Krishna has 6 opulences, and Krishna is Bhagavan, and Bhagavan has full of 6 opulences. What are those 6 opulences? Fame, wealth, strength, renunciation, knowledge, and beauty. So Krishna has all these 6 opulences in full. But Krishna is non-different from his holy name. So Krishna's holy name, the name Krishna, is full of strength, is so full of the fame of Krishna, full of wealth of Krishna, full of the renunciation of Krishna, full of knowledge of Krishna, and full of beauty of Krishna. And the holy name can give us anything we desire. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Kalaha Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagwan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrisham Ehjani Nam Ragaha. Nam Nam Akari Bahunam Nija Sarva Shaktis. Krishna says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in the name of Krishna, he has put all his energies. So when this shloka says, Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vijay, that the name of Krishna is full of Krishna's energies. There is an Upanishad which is known as the Kali Santarna Upanishad. And in this Upanishad, we get the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kali Santarna Upanishad. The Kali Santarna Upanishad means that Upanishad which rescues us from Kali Yuga. And this Upanishad mentions Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It says, Iti Sodasakam Nam Nam, Kali Kalmasanasanam, Nata Parataropai, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. These 16 names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra destroy all the inauspiciousness of the age of Kali. And this is the conclusion of all the Vedas. These 16 words, these 16 names of Kali destroy all the inauspiciousness in the age of Kali. Prabhuji and Matajis, you don't have to leave home. You don't have to perform any sacrifices, any austerities. You don't have to study the Vedas or scriptures. You don't have to be a Sanskrit Pandit. You do not have to fast or perform any austerities. Wherever you are, sthane sthita, at work, job, whether you're a housewife, whether you're a child, whether you're old, one can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says that this is the blessed age of Kali Yuga. Because in Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can get full perfection. One can get full perfection. Krishna is known as Yagneshwara. What does Yagneshwara mean? Yagneshwara is the beneficiary of all kinds of sacrifices. And in every age, there is a different sacrifice which has to be performed. And performing yagna is to please the Lord. But in the age of Kali, the only homa, the only sacrifice which you need to perform is the Sankirtan Yagya. Nothing else is required. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, there is a conversation between Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya. And Shukracharya, who is a very ritualistic Brahmana, he tells Bali Maharaj, he tells him that in this age of Kali Yuga, you cannot perform perfect sacrifices because sometimes the mantra, you cannot perform perfect homas because sometimes the Sanskrit mantras you chant may not be perfect. Sometimes the paraphernalia may be adulterated. But Shukracharya tells Bali Maharaj that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, simply by chanting the names of the Lord, all the gaps in your homa are filled. Therefore, whenever we perform a housewarming ceremony, whenever we perform any ceremony, and if we do some homa, yagna, etc., it is made complete only if we have Sankirtan. Because as Shukracharya says, all the gaps in that particular puja is fulfilled. This is the Yuga Dharma of our age, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it has been propagated by the Yuga Avatar, none other than Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has made it so easy for us. who has made it so easy for us. And this Maha Mantra has two very special qualities. First of all, it is easy, because in the previous ages it was very difficult. You had to go to the forest and do so much of tapasya, or perform so many yajnas and elaborate pujas. But in this yuga, it is simply to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And secondly, it is very, very effective, because it is permeated by a special potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Golokena Premadhana Harinam Sankirtana. This Premadhana from Golok Vrindavan has come down in the form of his holy name. Therefore, the devotees, when we speak with devotees, we often speak of taking shelter of the holy name in Kali Yuga. That one should take shelter of the holy name of Kali Yuga. One should take shelter. What does this shelter of the holy name mean? Radhanath Maharaj was sharing that when Kali sees someone chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he runs away from that spot. Just like in the Skanda Puran, it is written that when the Yamudutas, they see a person with tilak and kantimala, they scream and they run away. Just like the wind blows away dried leaves. So when the Yamadutas, they see some person wearing tilak and kantimala, they scream and run away. Therefore, taking shelter of the holy name means taking shelter from the onslaught of Kali. Taking shelter from the onslaught of Kali. We all know the story of Ajamila. And Ajamila was about to die. And he was pulled from the neck by the Yamadutas. And as he was pulled from the neck, he started screaming, as we all know, Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Then something extraordinary happened. As the Yamadutas were pulling Ajamila from their neck with a noose, four dazzling personalities entered. And of course, we all know that they were Vishnu Dutas. The Yamadutas who were pulling Ajamila were completely surprised. And they asked, "Who are you?" And they said, "We are none other than servants of Vishnu." And the Yamaduta said, "Lord Vishnu." And he said, and the Vishnu Duta said, "Yes, we are Vishnu Dutas." And the Yamaduta said, "Why are you interfering? We want to take this sinful soul away." And then the Vishnu Duta said, "Because Lord Vishnu, our master, ordered us." And the Yamaduta said, "Your master?" "No, our master ordered us." And then the Vishnu Duta said, "Our master is actually our master is on top of your master. Vishnu directs Yamaraj." And then the Yamaduta said, "But this Ajamila, he has committed so many sins." And the Vishnu Duta said, "Are you sure?" And then the Yamaduta said, "Of course, we have to take them to our master for sentencing." But then the Vishnu Duta said, "But he has already atoned for all his sins." The Yamaduta said, "What? Atoned?" And the Vishnu Duta said, "Did you not see that when he was dying, he actually chanted God's names? He chanted Narayana." The Yamaduta said, "So what?" And then the Vishnu Dutas explained that God's name is so powerful that it cancels all the sinful reactions and punishments what this personality was supposed to get. The Yamaduta said, "Cancelled? What do you mean by cancelled?" And the Vishnu Duta said, "Yes, his sins are all cancelled because he chanted in an offenseless manner." The Yamadutas were puzzled and they said, "This is hard to believe." The Vishnu Duta continued, "Yes, Ajamila chanted out God's name. He meant his son Narayana, not the Lord Narayana. But even then, the Lord's name is powerful, because not only did it free him from the punishment, but due from the sins he committed in this life, but also freed himself from all the punishments, all the sins which he has committed in his previous life." The Yamaduta said, "Are you serious?" And then the Vishnu Duta said, "Absolutely. Even if somebody recites the name of the Lord as a joke, as a song, and he doesn't care about it, still the name will free him. It will purify him, just like medicine purifies the sick person without the sick person knowing." The Yamadutas were shocked and dismayed. And lastly, the Vishnu Duta said, "The best of all, This person, Ajamala, by chanting the name of Narayana, has not only cleansed his heart, but it has also purified him and stopped him from committing further sins. And it will help him develop love of God. And this goes far beyond prayashchita or atonement. The Yamadutas were surprised. They went back to their master Yamaraja, and Yamaraja explained to them that in the future, if any sinner recites the name of the Lord, the Yamaduta should not take that person back. So Prabhuji's and Mataji's, Ajamila, just by chanting one name of the Lord, if he can get so much of benefit, what if we all chant the names of the Lord sincerely, many times in a day, sincerely, with all our heart? Imagine what kind of benefit we can get. We all know that Prabhupada, in the height of the hippie culture, which believes in drugs, free mixing between boys and girls, Srila Prabhupada went to America, and he had only two weapons. One was the mantra, and second was prasadam. And it was actually, initially, it was only by the power of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that Srila Prabhupada laid the foundation of the Hare Krishna movement. We all know how Prabhupada is sitting in the middle of Thompson Square Park and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He's chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if you see his face, Prabhupada's face at that time, and he's chanting in the Thompson with those kartals he's singing, and all those hippies are dancing around him. Prabhupada is so focused. There are lines on his head, and his voice is choking, and he's chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because Prabhupada realized that in the height of Kali Yuga in this New York City, it is only this one name, the Hare Nam, only this one name which could actually help these people. And it was through this one weapon of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that Prabhupada converted all the hippies, from their drug addiction, from their violent and dangerous people, to pure devotees of Krishna, And in this purport, Prabhupada writes, this purport of this shloka which we just read, Prabhupada writes, it is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I will repeat, it is impossible to overestimate the importance of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the power of Krishna's holy name. In the Vrindavan temple many years ago, in Vrindavan ISKCON temple many years ago, there was a young boy, and this young boy was a little dull-headed. And every day his mother used to bring him to the temple while she was a devotee, but there was something mentally wrong. He was a little weak in the mind. He was not very sharp. So every day his mother used to bring him to the temple and leave him in the temple hall where the kirtan used to go on, and she used to be busy with her services, and then she used to come and take him back, and they used to have prasadam, and they used to go away. So this went on for many years. And over a period of time, this young boy, just by sitting in that kirtan every day in and day out, for months together, there was so much improvement in him just by listening to kirtan, that slowly this young boy became more than normal. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj did not take the name of this boy, but he said that this boy in the Hare Krishna movement today is writing books and preaching and doing what-not service. And all this has happened just by chanting, by listening to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Manda Sumanda Matayo, even if someone has dull-headed, just by listening to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is completely cured in this age. So Prabhujis and Matajis, we all chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And some of us chant mechanically, and all of us chant mechanically, and that is okay, because mechanical chanting is better than no chanting, right? But what I leave you with this one thought today. What if we chant with a little attention? That is better than mechanical chanting. And above that, what if we chant with a little feeling? That is, if we can chant with attention and with feeling, then we have made it. because this is the sum and substance of all our philosophy. It all boils down to this, that we have to chant the holy name of the Lord sincerely. All our reading, all our service which we do, all the reading which we do of Bhagavatam, all the service which we do, everything which we do should lead us to better chanting. And if we can simply chant the name of the Lord in Kali Yuga sincerely, then within all our perfection is achieved. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I just want to share that uh, in the last 4 weeks, we have had so many wonderful devotees of Lord Krishna come and who have come here on this Zoom site and who have spoken, who have shared their thoughts, who have shared their realization. And they must have spent so many hours and days preparing for their class so that we can benefit. So my humble request to all of you all will be this, that that please always never forget the contribution of all those wonderful devotees who come here day in and day out, who come so that y'all and all of us can benefit. Please always keep them in your prayers. Please always utter a silent Hare Krishna Mahamantra for them, because they are spending their time and hours preparing so that we can benefit. You know, we have had so many devotees. We have had devotees like Madhur Gauranga Prabhu, we have had Sachidulal Prabhu, then we had Jagat Sakshi Prabhu, and of course all our devotees. We had His Holiness Bhakti Nityanand Swami Maharaj who came, and all these devotees who came day after day, and we all came and we listened to the classes. But but all these devotees, whether they are a grahastha, whether they are a brahmachari, whether they are a sannyasi who came, they all have one thing in common. And what is that one thing? That they have all made Krishna the center of their lives. They have made Krishna the center of their lives. And in this age of Kali Yuga, Prabhujis and Matajis, Srila Prabhupada has started this Hare Krishna movement so that all of us can make Krishna the center of their lives. And he's showing a way in which it is possible that we can live a life which is we describe how this Kali Yuga has so many bad effects. We can live a life where we can take complete shelter of Krishna, Krishna's names, and live a life which is so complete and so beautiful and so happy. So I leave you with that thought today. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any comments or any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
प्रभुजी आपका क्लास आज बहुत अच्छा लगा, जो मतलब एकदम लाइक टचिंग होता ना प्रभु जी, जैसे हृदय स्पर्श हो गया। और मुझे ये जो आपने बताया ना वृंदावन की जो आपने घटना बताई प्रभु जी, तो उससे मैंने भी ये सोचा प्रभु जी, वो तो भगवान की दया से मतलब नॉर्मल होने लगा, और इतना आगे उसको मतलब भगवान की दया से कृपा से प्रभु जी। हाँ, मुझे एक क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन हम लोग भी जो साधना है हम लोग उसमें बहुत वीक है। मतलब प्रभु जी हमें ना आज सारे डिवोटीज हैं और पुरुषोत्तम मंथ है, तो आई वांट देयर ब्लेसिंग्स प्रभु जी और मर्सी, सो हम भी अपनी बीमारी दूर कर सके प्रभु जी। ये कैसे होगा प्रभु जी? हरे
Mataji, the blessings and the prayers of all the devotees are definitely with you. You are a very sincere devotee. आप साधना अच्छे से कर रहे हो. Just keep, please, continuing what Prabhupada has laid out for us, what Guru Maharaj has said, to chant our 16 rounds, do our reading, do our seva, do our sadhana, very sincerely, day in and day out, and leave the rest to Krishna.
Yes,
and leave the rest to Krishna. बाकी वो सब देख लेंगे. It's only our sincerity. Krishna is the Lord Krishna is just seeing our sincerity. Everything else we can leave to him, Mataji.
यस प्रभु जी, वो मुझे भी हाँ ये पॉइंट लगा कि हम भी बीमारी हैं एक्चुअली, जब तक साधना सिंसियर ठीक से नहीं होती तब तक प्रभु जी। I think
yes,
so.
Mataji. Definitely.
Yes.
Thank
you
you very
Prabhuji.
much. Today, of
Thank
course, is the birthday of. Is there any other question before I come to announcement? Is there any other question or comment? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Vikram Prabhu, Bhakti Vinod Das here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu, it was very enlightening and very good points were made. And my sincere wishes that you'll be able to continue to inspire all of us. And such a nice explanation of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I'm very happy to listen to you today. Hopefully we can hear more and more such programs in future. So my best wishes to all of you and my prayers to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Please keep blessing us. We are very fortunate to have your association. This pandemic has given us your association it is actually a great benediction that we have got your blessings and we get your association every day. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for your blessings and your prayers. Hare Krishna. Of course, today is the birthday of Pramila Devi Mataji. So Mataji, as we all know, is a very, very sincere devotee and a part of His Grace Rajakirtan Prabhu's Bhakti Vriksha. We see her coming for so many programs. Her sadhana, I've heard, is immaculate. She is so involved in everything which she gets. So I request, she is such a simple and humble devotee. I request all the devotees present here to please loudly chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
day of yes. So tomorrow is the last day of Purushotham. Hare Krishna, Pramila Devi Mataji, is that you?
Very much, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Devat Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So tomorrow is the last day of Purushotham Maas, and we have a special program lined up for you tomorrow at the same time at 8 o'clock. So please attend that program. It will be slightly different. We will not have a class, but we have something very wonderful. So after tomorrow, we will take a small gap. The morning chanting will continue every morning at 4:30. Bhagavatam class will continue every day at 6:30. But we'll take a gap of about 15 days. And then again in the month of Kartik, we will come back with a whole range of programs for you in the evening, whole range of classes, which we'll announce later. So this is how we plan to do it. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Venkatesh Prabhu, would you like to take over?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. In the Purushotham month, Kaudinya Muni repeatedly chanted this mantra, and he gives a blessing saying that by chanting this mantra with devotion, one will attain Purushottama, Sri Krishna, along with Srimati Radharani. So now we will all recite Kaudinya Muni's mantra. So kindly repeat after me and please be in mute. Govardhanadaram vande Gopalam Goparupinam Gokulautsavameshanam Govindam Gopika Priyam Vande Navaganashamam Gojam Kalidharam Pitambaradaram Devam Saradam Purushottamam. I worship the lifter of Govardhan Hill, who has a beautiful form of a cowherd boy and who continually plays with the Gopas. He is a lord of Gokula, wherein every day is a festival. I offer my obeisances to Navaganasham, Krishna, who has the color of a fresh rain cloud, who is holding the fruit with his two hands. I worship Purushottama, who is so beautiful in his yellow dress, Pitambara. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Before we go to the next program, sorry, I just wanted to interrupt. Vote of thanks. His Grace Vikram Baldev Prabhu, thank you very much for the class, and you have been always inspiring all of us. We see by your progress in Krishna consciousness, you and Mataji, came to so many lives in and around Sanjay Nagar and others, helping in every aspect in devotional life, taking care for some of them like father and mother, some of them like friends, guiding us all the time. So having said this, I request everyone to bless Prabhuji, pray for Prabhuji, and please unmute and please chant loudly Hare Krishna Mahamantra for his spiritual journey.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhuji.
Over to Smita Mataji for Jagannath Ashtakam.
Hare Krishna. We will sing Sri Jagannath Ashtakam. We all can offer a ghee lamp now. Sri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Jai. Kadachit kalindi tat vipina sangeet taravo mudabhiri nari vadana kamala swad madhupa Rama Shambho Brahma Marapati Ganesha Chitpado Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Bhuje Sabye Venu Shirasi Shikhi Picham Katisate Dukulam Netante Sakari Katang Samvidhate Sada Srimad Vrindavana Vasati Leela Parichayo Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Maham Bodhi Stire Kanakaruchire Nil Shikhare Vasan Prasadanta Sahaj Bala Bhadren Balina Subhadra Madhyastha Sakala Suseva Vasarado Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Kripa Paravara Sajala Jalat Srini Ruchiro Ramavani Rama Sufula Damala Pankaro Mukha Surendra Radhya Shruti Garshikha Geet Charito Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Ratharudho Gachan Pati Milit Bhudeva Patale Stuti Pradurbhavam Prati Pradamukkaranya Sadaya Daya Sindhur Bandhu Sakala Jagatam Sindhu Sutaya Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Param Brahma Pira Kuvalya Dolutra Full Nayano Devasi Niladro Lihit Charano Nant Shirasi Rasanandi Radha Sarasva Purlinga Sukhum Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Navayache Rajam Nacho Kanak Manikya Vibhavam Nayache Ham Ramyam Sakala Jankamyam Varvadhuma Sada Kale Kale Pratham Patina Geet Charito Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Bhavatu Me Haritam Sansaram Duttaram Saram Surpate Satam Papana Aho Dinala थे निहित चरणों निशित सुमिदम। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे। जगन्नाथाष्टकं पुण्यं य पठेत् प्रयत शुचि सर्वपाप विशुद्धात्मा विष्णुलोकं स गच्छति। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रमाई जय सुदर्शना जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव। जय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। पुरुषोत्तम मास की जय। Thank you all for joining. We'll meet tomorrow at 4:30. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.